very nervous when the Pentagon got hit, and that's when they decided that I should go onto the intercom system here and pray. So George said, "Father, we want you to tell the kids what's going on, and we want you to pray." And I go, "Well, what do you pray for?" I wasn't sure what exactly or how to pray. And still to this day, whenever the readings come up around this time, it's always about loving your enemy and forgiving people. Even the readings this Sunday, 9/11, are just really about, how do we deal with our anger? And I remember that day just going, I don't know how to deal with this. My biggest recollection was just how I was the one who told all of our students that this had happened. And I hope they didn't pick up my confusion and my loss, because I wasn't sure exactly how to deal with it myself on that day.
Put everybody on standby. It was one of the most fearful times of my career, 33-year career. And since then, I think we as a city and as a state and as a country have prepared much better for incidents of terrorism, but we've still got a long way to go. There's a delicate balance between maintaining our freedoms and protecting our public from incidents such as this. I certainly hope that we never get to the point in future generations where they look back and some think that 9/11 never occurred, similar to the Holocaust, because it occurred and we lived it.
I didn't sleep well that night. I did a lot of tossing and turning, worrying about the future. And I kept telling myself, though, that, surely this would be okay and surely something would work out. But about 5 o'clock the following morning, when I was still awake, I decided that, I needed to go to 7 o'clock Mass over at Borgia that morning and be grateful for what I still had, and also ask for God to help us guide us through this crisis. And I felt better after I went to 7 o'clock Mass that morning. I felt better. I felt more calm. I felt more that we can handle this. And so, quite honestly, it was the beginning of my daily attendance to 7 o'clock Mass. And it's hard to believe that I've been doing that for 10 years now. And but that was when it all started.
And received calls at headquarters advising us to turn on the media and news that major things were happening in New York. And we quickly saw that the World Trade Center had been struck. And we was listening to the news broadcast, and I was just thinking about the high-rise situation the New York Fire Department was going to be involved in. I had been to the World Trade Center before on trips to New York for my employment, and I knew what a challenge it was going to be because of the size of the buildings. Division 1 got on scene and established command, and Manhattan Dispatch radioed Division 1 and said, Manhattan to Division 1, we have persons trapped on the 106th floor, floor 106. We have persons trapped on the 103rd floor, floor 103. We have persons trapped on the 102nd floor, floor 102. And Division 1's answer was simply, we're on the way up. I think that they have set an example and an expectation with their ultimate sacrifice and their endeavor that it's the responsibility of us, each and every firefighter, to live up to since then. And it doesn't mean making the ultimate sacrifice, it means making good decisions, sometimes making the tough decision.
I remember sitting there watching it and not fully understanding as a second grader, what was going on, but the fact that it had upset my mom so much, and my dad who would come from work and my littlest sister, I knew that it was something big. It's weird to think about because you hear adults talk about it and they're like, it was such a new concept, being attacked on American soil, but I think it's definitely changed the world.
I think of 9/11, I think of a plane crashing into a big building and people being killed. Makes me really sad and upset.
In everyone's mind, it seemed to be an accident at that point, as I called them back in to see it because we are kind of a inquisitive lot of people, and based on the type of work that we do, and we all began to watch, and as the rest of the events unfolded with the second plane and the tower, and then we were pretty well glued to the television for quite some time after that. The immediate concerns we had at that point were, how safe is everyone anywhere in the United States anymore? We've always been about safety of all of our personnel, and making sure their safety is of primary importance to us as we give our care to patients. One of the things that I also reflect upon is having been in grade school when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, and recalling that as a key moment in history, and the landing on the moon. This is another one that you just will never forget what you were doing at that time. And so as we reflect back, we want to remember those that gave their lives in this event, and just continue forward, and God bless America.
Just kind of in awe. I just didn't believe it or whatever. I quickly went and we got a TV. We hooked it up down in the cafeteria. My students were still at their special time, and then when they came back to me to report to me, we all went down in the cafeteria and we just watched the events unfold. We actually got to see the second plane hit, and we just kind of talked about it. We didn't know what was going on. We just kind of reflected back on that. I didn't know if that was the right thing to do. I just thought that this was a major event taking place, and I just thought I would share it with my children. And I was very fortunate. My wife and I sat out on the couch with our soon-to-be 9-year-old boys the other day, and was watching some of the National Geographic specials that they're running on that, and just had those conversations with my children. And that's one of those things that I hope parents do to educate their children. It's kind of a sensitive issue, so it's kind of one of those things that don't know how to address it as a school, but a mother or father can find the appropriate way to do that. And I also want the children to know that are here at South Point that never forget. They may not get a big lesson about it here through that day, but hopefully sometime that their parents will share with them, and they will never forget the incidents that took place that day, and how thankful and how grateful we are for all those people who serve our community and our country.
I was either in 3rd or 2nd grade, and they announced it at school. I had no idea what it was about, really, and then I went to daycare, and then I kind of figured out what it was about, but I didn't really understand why it would happen. It's more thankful, more grateful, and I realized how powerful our nation is. So.